you want a lazy girl job? Should you want a lazy girl job? This trend has taken TikTok by storm and influenced an entire generation thinking about their career and their future. Now, is it right for you? In today's video, we're going to figure out if you should get a lazy girl job or not. Gabrielle Judge coined this term in 2023, and she sparked the imagination of people online who are disillusioned about working life. They're treated unfairly at work. Anti-corporate sentiment is prevailing online. So what a great reaction. This is a reaction to the girl boss movement, or lean in, that says, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, women. You can do it. It's up to you. Now, I may seem particularly unqualified to talk about this trend because I'm neither lazy nor a girl, but you'll quickly see in this video that these concepts go beyond gender and they impact everyone that's working. So this video is for both boys and girls. This trend has made its mark, but not everyone agrees with it. Check out Susie Welsh speaking about why this is not a good fit for most people.
What's going to happen is eventually people are going to react to just being bored. Okay, so if you sort of choose to opt out of everything so that you're not feeling anxiety.
Yeah, you're not talking about just making money. You're talking about mental challenge.
Yeah, like you have to be mentally and emotionally stimulated. If you keep on trying to protect yourself and insulate yourself to the point where, you know, all anxiety is out of your life, are you even living?
I've met Susie. She's excited about getting people excited about their working lives, their values, their motivation, their purpose. Of course, lazy girl trends is not a good fit for what she's trying to build. Now, who is this a good fit for? We're going to find out in this video. First, the word lazy. What does it mean? Well, when you coin a term that sparks such attention, you're an artist. You cut through the noise and got people's attention and hit on a nerve. So congrats, Gabrielle, for piercing through and speaking to something that matters to people. So let's talk about what a lazy girl job is and what it's not. First of all, it's a way to prioritize your well-being in your job. That's important. Second, it's about working smarter, not harder. And third, it's a job that's so aligned that it feels easy. These are great concepts to promote at work. And Gabrielle qualifies that it's not about time theft at work. It's not about nihilism. It's not about not thinking in your job. Rather, it's about creating autonomy and flexibility in your work. So it's not just about finding the right job title. It's about thinking about your relationship to work. And she does a great job of getting people to think differently about work. And that's one of the things that resonated with me is she's trying to get us to look at our working lives differently, and she's questioning the traditional advice to careers. So if you decide to join on her mission and her cause, maybe join her Substack and read her 30-day newsletter sequence, you might learn something, which I think is a great thing. I'm very committed to learning from people who have different ideas than me, and I think you should be too. So what can you learn from the lazy girl trend? You can learn how to set boundaries. This is important for well-being. You can learn to focus on results in your job, not just your inputs, your hours, or when you show up to work. It's also thinking about the good kind of lazy. The good kind of lazy is about leverage, right? Tim Ferriss wrote a book called The 4-Hour Work Week, where he tried to explain leverage, focus, efficiency. But for most people, they miss that message and they think you literally have to work a 4-hour work week. That's not what Tim Ferriss was saying. That's not what Gabrielle is saying either. Focusing on leverage means being good at what you do and not necessarily having to do that in the traditional 40-hour work week. So what's the criticism that this trend has received? First of all, people don't like the word lazy. They think it's a bad word. I don't mind. I think provocative language is okay to cut through the noise of everything that's online. It's true that some corporations treat people poorly, and I think Gabrielle really wants to fight against this. Some corporations take advantage of people. However, if that's what you think about all of corporate America, all organizations, all companies, all leaders, all teammates, that might be a sad way to start your career. And it's not accurate either. The biggest criticism I have about this trend is that a job is not created to give you well-being. That's not the reason they made it or that they're hiring. They're hiring to help solve a problem. Once you set your sights on that, once you focus that, once you prioritize that, what's the problem I'm trying to solve in this job? That gives you a window into what other people need, what you should focus on. What does success look like in this particular job? I think this is a great focus to step into your job to understand what's going on. And then from there, you can build your boundaries, what you need for your well-being. Without that understanding of what's going on around you, it's hard to start by saying, here's how I will figure out my recipe for well-being in my job. So my recommendation is to step into a job thinking, what does the world need? Not what do I need? Once you figure out what the world needs, then you can set your boundaries. You've heard what they need. You might still say no and push back and figure out your recipe for success, but at least you know what's going on around you and what they need. Here's a practical example of that. Some folks recommend that you stick to your job description. Don't do more than what was asked of you. I disagree. If you have that perspective of sticking to your job description, you assume that the human resources department, your boss, your team, they know exactly what it takes to be successful. That's not true most of the time. I think you should walk in to a job thinking, this is not the entire recipe for success. I need to participate in creating the recipe for success in this job. So I've celebrated a lot about what you can learn from lazy girl jobs and the entire trends and movement. Now, what are the things you need to be careful of? Well, I understand the pushback online. It sounds like we're telling a generation of students and young people that maybe you don't have so much to look forward to in the world of work. Maybe you're going to be taken advantage of. And that's not the case. I don't want to be discouraging and expect them to hate corporate America. When this trend talks about things like sort of like quiet quitting, that's not a positive thing to encourage. When we say pretend to be dumb at work, I don't encourage that. That doesn't sound ethical. When we say, you know what, it takes me 2 hours, not 8 hours to get what I need to get done in a day, and what are you doing for those other 6 hours? We're blurring the lines of what fair, ethical, and good communication is. And that can be confusing, especially to young people starting jobs and careers for the first time, and they're trying to set their compass and boundaries about what's it like to work at a corporation. So who are lazy girl jobs for? Maybe you've got a season or a chapter in your life where you need to focus on well-being. For example, you've read 10 productivity books, or you've found some workaholic tendencies and you need to scale back your efforts and your hours at work. Lazy girl jobs and the entire movement can teach you about well-being and about how to take care of yourself. You might even take a job that has less hours, less requirements, and less stress than you had initially. That's a good fit for lazy girl jobs. If you find that setting boundaries is hard for you, you could benefit from the folks online talking about how to set proper boundaries. Here are some great reasons not to do a lazy girl job. You're starting off your career. You're pre-launching or launching your career and you want to figure out, how can I have a great working life? This might not be the best place to start. You might meet a community of folks that don't like work. They don't like working in teams. They prefer working alone. They're discouraged. They've had bad experiences. This may not be encouraging for you. You might want to surround yourself with the opposite, people who are thriving in corporate America, who are happy and are well paid. They're working hard and it's a good fit for them where they are at work. You might look at these places if you're launching your career. So in conclusion, on top of learning from Gabrielle, you can learn from brilliant folks listed below, like I Love West Cow to teach you communication skills in the workplace. And there's so many other folks that have positive approaches to work, purpose, growth, and learning. And there's other folks that have great messages around well-being, balance as well. Anytime you're investing in thinking about your career, not just working in your career, you're likely to make some improvements to your life. Wishing you best of luck, whether you're a lazy girl, not a lazy girl, whether you're a lazy boy, not a lazy boy. I want to see you thrive at work. And if you have the desire to do that, to build a great working life, tell me what you want me to make a video on next. Look forward to your feedback. Bye.